Hi everyone. Today I use Perfect Man from Crowne And Crane and I talk about the reason storks bring babies. Stay tuned. Cape Cod wet shaving. All right, another history shave, everyone. It's going to be a good one. I'm very excited. You can tell because I'm smiling like a silly person. I've been very much looking forward to this. My hours are very screwy, so this is going to be released late at night, probably about 10:30 in the evening. It's about 8:30, 9 o'clock now, I think. But better late than never, you know what I mean? So today's shave, let me open this real quick. No coffee since it's so late, so I'm drinking IBC Black Cherry, which is one of my favorite drinks. One of my favorites, my son's favorite too. So it gives me an excuse to buy it for both of us. It's a shame it's a 4-pack though. Okay, so today's history shave is going to be appropriately, I think, about why storks bring babies. And I was at the hospital thinking of a shave. You know, that's the de-stressor now for us wet shavers, one of them. And I was just thinking, like, I wonder when I can do another history shave and what it would be about. And then it hit me. One of the nurses, I think, made a comment about the stork bringing a baby, or she had said something like, have the kids been to visit him to tell him the stork brought them a brother? And I went, that's it. Because I have absolutely no idea why a stork, of all things. So that's what this is going to be about. Let me run through my items I'm going to be using. So I have Rebel's Refinery pre-shave oil. Haven't used this in a while. I think it's okay. I haven't used it really enough to have an opinion. Seems pretty good, at least in my opinion, for those who like pre-shave soaps. So I used this kind of recently, this soap, Perfect Man from Crowne And Crane. Hello, Liz. I used this about 2.5, 3 months ago, I think. The reason I went with it, again, aside from the fact that I love this stuff, it smells so good, is because I had a son who is 2 weeks old today, if you can believe that, how quick that went. And I could think of no better thing that I want him to be other than a perfect man. So stork pertained to him, and the title of this soap pertained to him, I think. So I will be using that. One of the scent notes of a perfect man is jasmine, and one of the other scent notes is citrus. So I'm going to pair it with batch 214. This is a splash by Bricktown Grooming. Hello, Phil. Made by a man named Phil Decker. I consider him a close friend. Really great guy. Even better, as an added bonus, he happens to make absolutely badass splashes. Most of you know him by now, but if you do not, you need to go check out Bricktown Grooming. Wonderful scents. This one, he and I were excited about. If you're interested, I won't mention it here, but if you're interested in it, go check it out at any of our fine retailers and check out the story behind it. It's a great scent. I'll also be using the balm for the Perfect Man. I feel like I'm forgetting something. I am also going to be using my KIKC Hematite Badger brush. They say it's hematite. It feels like hematite. I'm just not sure because hematite is rust and that seems to be counterproductive for a shaving brush. But I think it looks cool, so I'll call it hematite. And I'm going to be using my twig. I think this is definitely the first time I've used it on camera. I think this is only the third time I've used it overall. Second time overall. I'm still getting a handle on these, no pun intended. The single edge razors, it's just different, but I see why people are in love with those things. All right, let me get pre-shave on. It just dawned on me, I did not put the pre-shave oil on yet, but that's okay. So let me do that real quick. And I will list off the scent notes of Crowne And Crane Perfect Man, of which there are many. Here we go. Spilled some. I've had a few conversations with people about appreciable. I know it's very divisive. In fact, someone on Facebook flat out said that on a photo of one of my shave of the days that what I use is overkill. And my literal response was maybe, but I enjoy it. And to his credit, he said, well, that's what it's all about. And, you know, amen. So, didn't bother me. I mean, the guy, people have opinions. And if your first impulses will say, keep it to yourself, I mean, it is what it is, you know. It bothered me for a split second at first, but I'm like, whatever, dude. I did it again in the next shave, you know what I mean? And posted it. It's like another guy that said I use too many hashtags. And that guy got on my nerves because he said it to me like 3 times. And I finally was like, all right, dude. I'll use more next time. Because he won't stop. And he responded like LOL, something like that. Sorry, I'm getting way off topic here. People are a rare breed, aren't they? I love people though. All right. So, the scent notes of Perfect Man are patchouli, vetiver, frankincense, peppercorn, jasmine, hint of peppermint, all right? Japanese grapefruit, cedar, labdanum, I always feel like I'm mispronouncing that, ginger, lemon, aquatic notes, bergamot, okay? So the Japanese grapefruit's the citrus note I was telling you about, and jasmine. So, all right, so I think that absorbed already. This stuff's very quick absorbing. I forget that it's scented too. It has like a kind of barbershop-ish scent to it, which is really nice, which goes with the bergamot. All right. So here we go. Let's get started. So the reason storks bring babies. Okay. This is very interesting. There were some conflicting facts depending on the sources I went to. So remember when I said I usually go to 2 or 3 different sources? I actually found myself chasing down a couple of different avenues to make sure that I got it correctly. I feel like I'm going to burp, which I did, but it wasn't loud. Excuse me. Let me get the lather and chew, by the way. I'm not making this a 40-minute video. So I'm going to make sure, as I always say, that this is to the best of my knowledge, factual. I'm pretty sure it is. I'm not worried about the facts. I'm worried about the order of the facts that they're in. So if anyone happens by sheer coincidence to know about this topic, correct me if I'm wrong, please. Because I'd rather people know what's right rather than me be correct. Real quick, too, also want to give a shout out to Captain's Choice. I've wanted this bowl for 2 years. This is the heavyweight copper shave bowl. As soon as I opened it and felt this thing, I was in love. This thing is amazing. And for the price for copper is close to gold these days. So, I mean, that's, if you were thinking about this bowl, don't sit on it. This is a well-made, beautiful shaving bowl. I mean, it's just, oh, wish I could wear it. That's how awesome that thing is. So, anyway. Okay, for starters, the stork myth is hard to trace. Boy, is it ever. It's just one of those things that's so old that it's kind of hard to get a grasp on where it started. I'm talking like biblical, like BC times. It is actually quite ancient. Just said that. It can trace its roots to folklore from Europe, the Americas, North Africa, and the Middle East. Okay? Not just those, but primarily that's where it pops up a lot. Look at that lather right up. This is a tallow base, by the way. Yeah. She does have a vegan line. She does have a tallow line. Both are equally remarkable. And as I said, Liz is, when I say that you buy from an artisan, but you also buy from a person, Liz is one of those that I buy from a person. Because I will write her to ask her about a soap or a balm. She has actually made me a balm before because I asked if she had them. And she said, no, I'm out. And I said, oh crap, that sucks. and she made me one. When she came out with not Cherry Ho, Rutrow, the Christmas one with the deer on it. I didn't move on that fast enough, and it sold out. And she felt so bad because she knew I was so into Christmas stuff that she made me a ball. That's how you make customers right there, man. She's a wonderful person, so if you ever are thinking of purchasing from her, you should give her a chance. She just makes really good soaps and balms. In fact, I think she might be changing her containers because she was asking my opinion on whether I like the white balm containers or brown to match the jars. I incorrectly stated that I think the white is better to block UV, and she said nope, be a fact the amber is. And I said, oh, didn't know that. Obviously you would. So anyway, so some believe the stork actually originated in Nordic society. So here's a photograph of a deity called Frigga. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Your impulse is to say Frigga, but it's not that. That sounds like something someone would yell while they're being arrested by the police. I think it's Frigga, something like that. But you'll see in that photo, there's a stork right there behind her throne. All right. She was the goddess of, oh God, I looked this up. I didn't write it down though. I don't want to say the wrong thing. She's a Nordic goddess though. And I don't want to say the wrong thing, so I won't. I know it's on a little thin. It'll thicken up here. All right. In a Slavic and pagan religion, storks were believed to bring unborn souls from Viraj, V-Y-R-A-J. I think I'm saying that correctly. The pronunciation with these, I'm sorry if I butcher it. I did try. Believe it or not, Google Translate either doesn't recognize it a lot or just says it weird. And I'm just like, that can't be it. Like, I think it said Viraj or something. I'm like, yeah, no, that sounds dirty almost. So, believed to bring, my son's texting me and he's at work. Sorry about that. All right, souls from Viraj, which is paradise to them, to earth in spring and summer, which makes sense because the pagans worship the seasons, summer solstice, winter, all that stuff. Birds have also long been associated with maternal symbols throughout history. This is true. All right. Examples include the pagan goddess Juno or the dove with the Christian Holy Ghost. So that makes sense. Ancient peoples have long worshipped birds. I mean, you think of really any religion and they're going to have a bird somewhere in there. You got Horus from Egypt. I'm shooting myself in the foot because I can't think of another one. Who was it? In ancient Greece, if you saw an eagle carrying something in its talons, I believe that was supposed to be a sign from either Apollo or Zeus. Yeah, birds. So, in ancient Greece, there is a story of Hera becoming jealous of a queen named Gerana. She transformed her into a stork after taking away her child, which is jacked up. The heartbroken Gerana tried to retrieve her baby and was thus depicted as a stork carrying a child away, rescuing her own child. That's sad. Hera was if you know your Greek mythology, I mean, she had a husband that would cheat on her with man and woman, so I can kind of get that, but she would punish those who she was jealous of their beauty. Things of that nature. All right. So, by the way, this soap, lathered up, you're going to get the little bit of the peppermint, tiny bit. And when she says hint, it's a hint. It's kind of brief. I think it shows up and then it kind of gets buried again. But you're going to get the grapefruit, you get the bergamot. Something else. A little bit of the patchouli. There's something else, and I'm not sure what it is. I don't know. Maybe the wood, the cedar. I'm not sure. I don't want to say the wrong thing. It's a really good scent. It's very unique. The lemon, I think, is what I'm getting. Some of the lemon. There we go. All right, let me do my first pass, guys. I'm already behind. So, all right. Oh, and I'm using, I completely forgot to mention, I didn't break any blades, so I'm using the Leaf single blades. Okay. In ancient Egypt, the birth of the world was due to storks or herons. Okay? I believe that's a photo of a heron. Not a stork, but, you know, close. This is a crane. For obvious reasons, I'm wearing a crane. Close enough, right? Speaking of cranes. The original myth may have not involved a stork at all, but rather a crane. If it was European, I have a tendency to believe that. Now, there are European storks, but as you'll see in a minute, I don't think stork would be my first choice to associate with a baby. Cranes look far more graceful, more eloquent, elegant. This is the first use for this blade too, by the way. I love the angle of this razor. It's just so awesome. You just put it against your face and go. Like any razor, obviously, but I would buy this for a first timer. I think Greg Tardif mentioned this on his list of top beginner's razors, and he was dead on with this one. How you doing, Greg? Well, speaking of which, speaking of Greg, he reminded me. It was very cool. I was asked to participate in wishing Jason of the Razor Company a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Jason. Belated. That was fun. I sent them 2 videos. I sent them one of me telling a funny poem / joke and one of me just saying happy birthday. Drinking water out of the Razor Company mug, and they actually went with the funny one. So I was happy to see that. Carlos and the Shave Migos. That was fun to be a part of, so I appreciate it. Greg had one as well. That's what made me think of it. So thanks, guys. Happy birthday, Jason. All right. What else? Pagan couples would wed on the summer solstice as it was associated with fertility. At the same time of year, this is pretty cool, storks began their annual migration from Europe down to Africa, okay? They would then return in springtime, which was exactly 9 months later. So that was kind of an aha moment for me when I was learning about this. So I made sure to include that little factoid. All right, I went from too much water to no, it's not enough. However, I generally always say that I'm not doing the lather justice, don't I? So, love this bowl. I love this bowl. There we go. All right. The modern day image of the stork was revived in the 19th century due to the Hans Christian Andersen story, The Storks. Okay. I think that's a photo from one of the versions of that. If not, it's definitely one from The Fox and the Stork, which is another. I don't think that's Hans Christian Andersen. I forget who that was. There's quite a few stork stories in the 1800s. All right. Okay, dokie. I like that photo, the cover photo I used of the stork over the cloud. cover there. That and their cream soda. Oh. IBC is killer. Okay. Sorry, give me a sec. Okay. In the story, storks took dreaming babies from ponds and other bodies of water and delivered them to noble families. However, this is jacked up, so this is pretty messed up, but keep in mind this is Hans Christian Andersen. If you ever read the original Robin Hood, that's one of the, or Robin Hood, Red Riding Hood, that's one of the most violent fairy tales that you can read. Remember Billy Goat's Gruff with that scare? That story used to scare the piss out of me. That freaking troll under the bridge. But anyway, they took dreaming babies from ponds and other bodies of water, delivered them to noble families, deserving families. Undeserving families received a dead baby instead, at the risk of upsetting some people with that. Here we go. Pretty, pretty. Zoga Bessa. Oh, yeah, that's lemon for sure. I'm getting it now. For sure. What a good scent. So unique, man. Excuse me, I'm sorry. That was a terrible choice, really. Bubbly soda. Getting all burpy. Okay. It was not generally until the end of Victorian England that the story began to be used to hide the realities of copulation, sex, and childbirth. Okay. So this is when people started going, storks. Where do babies come from? Birds, giant birds. Like, what? Yeah, it's carry them in a blanket in their beak, you know. Why? Just go to your room, okay? Go get coal. Go do something. Fire's dying down. Just go. Do your chores. That's a running joke of mine. It makes my wife laugh. Dad, why is the sky blue? Well, the atmosphere of the Earth with the light spectrum coming in from the sun bends light in such a way that the sky turns blue. Why? Go to your room. Not really, I don't say that, but I'll joke about it. By the way, did you know plants hate the color green? It's because they reflect all the green light back at us. Pretty cool. Anyway, in some countries, families would place sweets in the windows to let storks know the home was ready for a baby. That's pretty cool. Pelagonia, from the Greek word for stork, which was pelargos, was a law that ordered children to care for their parents in old age. This is really cool. All right. It was due to the fact that storks will care for their young long after they are able to fly and care for themselves. Isn't that neat? So after the babies have left the nest, they'll still care for them. Which is like my wife and I tell our kids. You know, we say something along the lines of, whether you're 3 or you're 30, you're our babies. And as long as we're alive, we're there for you. All you need to do is ask. So I can relate to that. I think that's really cool because that's very odd in nature. Because energy is food, and food is survival. So that's why animals will just, let the law of nature do its thing. And at a certain point, when the babies are out on their own, well, they're out on their own. And instinct kicks in for you to live long enough to mate and make another batch of your species. So it's very unique in nature to have an animal continuously care for its own offspring long after they are able to care for themselves. I think that's pretty neat. I think I want to say alligators do something like that too, I believe. Of all the creatures that pops into my head, I think they do. Might be wrong. Pretty neat though. I wrote a little heart next to that too. So I don't know why. Storks have little fear of humans. Probably cousins of geese. Little shits. Excuse my French. They would constantly nest on roofs in Europe. Oh, this is funny. Having one or more on your home, a nest, was considered good luck and for some reason, protection from fires. I would think a giant, small car-sized nest on your roof, a wooden thatch roof, in a time where you use fire to warm your house, would probably not be the, excuse me, largest deterrent of fire, but that's just me. In that photo, that was stucco. It wasn't wood, but underneath that stucco is wood. That was in Spain, I believe, that photo. Anyone thinking about the twig, get it? This is an eloquent, wonderful razor. Very simplistic, very effective. I like it a lot. I actually might get another one in a different color just to have it. Might get a brass, gold color. Check the spots. Yep, that's what I figured. That's okay. The storks most people think of are white storks. So when you see the stork carrying the baby, beautiful, graceful stork, it's going to be a white stork. There are actually quite a few species. I forget the number. There's some that are downright ugly. Sorry, guys. Not the viewer, I mean the stork. Vultures are ugly as sin, but those are some of the most badass birds. Y'all in California, you got the condors. Oh. Those are some big ass birds, like pterodactyl sized birds. Never seen one in person, just at the zoo. But I remember thinking if I ever saw that in nature coming at me, I would run. Probably be able to pick you up too. All right. Yeah, the storks people think of are the white storks. They are beautiful, but are actually carnivores, carnivorous. Carnivores, storks. They eat fish too. The marine ones on the ocean, those eat fish, so it makes sense. They're carnivorous, temperamental, and quite large. Okay? That is a stork eating a rabbit. And that rabbit is jacked up. So that's why I was saying I don't know if that'd be my first choice, but you know, whatever. I get the other aspects of it too. Taking care of the babies and all that. So, all right. There we go. I'm going to rinse off. Give me a sec. And I will finish. I will rinse off, do post shave. Be right back. Okay. This is going to run longer. That's all right. I already found I'm kind of breaking the mold just doing more than 20 minutes as it is. Even 20 minutes is pushing it. And I always say this in every video. But post with her is really good. Very soft, silky, very smooth. Does she have Tussa silk? Tussa? Yes, she does. Yep. Right there. This is one of my favorite soaps. I'm an obvious fanboy of McDuff's. I'm a big fan of Hoffman's, but I am absolutely a fanboy of Crowne and Crane. I think I'll say McDuff's and Crowne and Crane in that order. Sterling, Hoffman's. Now I'm just listing off collections I have, like the most of, I think. But it's for a reason, right? All right. Go ahead and use the splash. Oh my gosh. So tired. he doesn't sleep during the day or during the night. He likes to be up at night. And so my wife has taken to being with him at night so I can get up and take the kids to school and do stuff around the house during the day. And then we'll trade off when I get home. So, bless my wife's heart, she let me take a nap. And I'm usually not a nap guy. I could use a nap, don't get me wrong, but just I'm the type where my brain just will not shut up. And I won't go to sleep. Or on the rare chance I do, I'll just take like a 20-30 minute power nap. I'd say between 15 minutes, 30 minutes. And my wife's like, how do you do that? I'm like, I actually prefer it. Because I got stuff to do, you know. Such a good smelling, very good smelling scent, Phil. I like that jasmine, dude. And I was fortunate enough to be involved with the testing of batch 214. So there were 2 different iterations of it I got to try. And myself and Tobin from Tobin's Throwbacks, How You Doing, Tobin, we both picked the jasmine heavy version. Without us knowing, we didn't collaborate. We just both took our time with it, we messed with it, and then we ended up talking to each other on the phone. And he was like, which one did you pick? And I was like, the second one. He was like, yes, me too. Why'd you pick that one? We went that way. And then we called Phil. So that was a fun experience. Okay, so in 1942, this is silly. In 1942, Heinrich Himmler wanted to use storks to carry propaganda for the Nazi cause. If you can believe this is true. His aim was to have them drop leaflets and hopefully win the support of the Boers in South Africa, B-O-E-R-S. Bears, it might be bears. So it was called an Operation something or other, or something stupid. I think it was like Operation Stork Assault or something weird, auf Deutsch. I'm not saying the Germans, anyway, I'm not saying they were dumb. That came off to me like it might be offensive. The name they get, you know, when we give it Operation Break In and Get the Drug Dealer. Like, wow, good one. You know what I mean? I meant it more like that. So, they figured that for every, I think it was 1,000 storks that they could find in the wild and capture and try to train, out of the 1,000, maybe 1 to 10 would actually follow through with what they wanted to do. So it ended up rounding out for all the time and effort that went into it and the money, Deutschmarks, put into it. It was like 1% turnout. And they were just like, why don't we just send people down and do it that way? So it was scrapped, this idea. Heinrich Himmler was an oddball, so that kind of made me laugh. All right, so birthmarks on the back of a newborn baby's neck or head are sometimes referred to as a stork bite. I did not know that. And it's kind of cool because my daughter was born with a birthmark on the back of her head, and my son has one just like that photo. That's not a photo of my son, but just like that. He has a birthmark right here on the back of his neck. So I was like, that's cool. It goes away over time for those who do not have kids. It's a normal, really very common occurrence. 2 of our kids had it, 2 did not. Literal 50-50. So the stork also seems to have done away with a similar story about babies being found under a gooseberry bush. That was news to me. And by then I was done. Got a gnat in here or something. I was done doing research, so I didn't get into it, but I do want to look up that gooseberry bush for myself just to read about it, because I never heard of that. But pretty neat. So, oh yeah, I didn't do the balm. All right, everyone. This is running into 35 minutes. Sorry about that. I don't mean to. But that's okay. I was very much looking forward to doing this, like I said. I want to give a special thank you to Lee Nunez. I hope I'm saying that right, Lee. He and I were going back and forth today on Facebook and yesterday. And I did a shave with Lavenwood from Shave Mercantile. And I went to one of my favorite spots for this shave of the day while my wonderful wife sat in the car watching me take pictures of shave stuff. But there's a old grain silo that's on the historic registry. About 15 minutes from our house, there was an old farm there. Before it was a farm, it was a mill. I'm talking dating back to like the origin of the country, 1700s. It was a mill, and then it became a homestead and then a farm. And then in 2007, the town acquired the farmland, turned it into conservation land, and that silo is the only thing that remains. And that's for the historic reasons, and just so picturesque and quiet there. That's one of my favorite places to go. And so I took that photo. He loved it so much and was so inspired by it that it inspired him to use a shave mercantile shave of the day. And he even positioned everything the same way I had mine. It was really cool. But it turns out he's from Fall River, Mass. Because he commented on it and he gave me a shout out. Thank you, Lee, man. That was very cool of you. And he mentioned, I didn't know that. And then I saw him mention he's only 40, 50 miles from me. But that's 9 hours basically in Massachusetts time during the summer. And I went, wait a minute, how do you know that? So I looked and he's from Fall River, right outside of Boston. So very cool, Lee. Thank you, man. That stuff puts a smile on my face, you know. That's why, you know, the community always say how awesome it is for reasons like that. Just why not? You know what I mean? Maybe I'm going to keep an eye on your stuff now, Lee. And I'm just going to pick one at random that calls out to me, and I'm going to copy one of yours. I should start doing that with like other people. Just randomly tag them. Be like, hey, thanks, you inspired me. Why not? All right, guys. Super long. Sorry about that, but oh well. I really appreciate it if you watched to the end. I appreciate it if you've returned. I appreciate it if you watched it for the first time and enjoyed it. But definitely if you made it to the end, because these videos are long. And I've long since realized that I really can't do them justice, because I'll just speed through stuff and it just won't be decent if I do it in a short amount of time. So I just accepted that it's going to be half an hour. That's the way it is. But thank you very much. I hope you all enjoyed this. If you have kids, that's the stork story. It's way out there in every. It's really neat because it's in every religion, every society, in some way, shape, or form. They have a stork story about babies coming from birds. So very neat. All right, y'all take it easy. Thank you for watching. Again, if you have been on the fence about trying Crowne and Crane, trying to try Crowne and Crane. There we go. Give them a shot. Again, Liz is a wonderful artisan, an absolutely sweet person. It's well worth giving her your money and your time. So, okay, that'll do it. Thank you. Y'all take care. Be safe. Take care of everyone. And, yeah, happy shaving as always. Till next time. Appreciate it. Take care.